In the headlines, circulated information suggesting a gastroenteritis outbreak dismissed as untrue. Concern about expanded U.S. sanctions targeting Cuban medical professionals. A St. Peter stalwart celebrated for his remarkable impact on the community. And in sports, Barbados Pride women still the only unbeaten side in the CBC United Women's Super 50 Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening to you and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Tisha Hines with your details at this time. Chief Medical Officer, the Most Honorable Dr. Kenneth George, is tonight dismissing a rumor circulating on social media that there is a gastroenteritis outbreak on the island. He was responding to a voice note being widely shared, urging Barbadians to beware of a virus causing symptoms such as diarrhea, vomiting, a cough, runny eyes, and dizziness. Dr. George tells CBC News the Ministry of Health and Wellness has no evidence to suggest a spike in gastroenteritis cases.
In addition, respiratory symptoms in persons less than 5 years old is well below the threshold. There has been some small fluctuations in fever and respiratory symptoms in persons 5 years old and older. So from our perspective, the Ministry of Health certainly can corroborate the voice note that is circulating that there is a dangerous virus circulating in Barbados.
Now, Dr. George is encouraging members of the public to seek medical advice for any ailments instead of using online information to self-diagnose.
We will continue to communicate with the public if there is an outbreak, but we cannot agree with the voice note. Finally, from time to time, individuals may have an acute episode of vomiting and diarrhea, and those individuals are requested to seek medical attention early to prevent dehydration and so that the appropriate samples can be collected to find out the cause of the gastroenteritis.
Meanwhile, President of the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners, BAMP, Dr. Linda Williams, tells CBC News the voice note circulating warning Barbadians about the virus may be an inaccurate depiction of what is taking place across the country.
There have been people who have diarrhea and vomiting associated with respiratory viruses. There are many of these circulating right now, and the instructions to sanitize and wear masks is sound advice, particularly for those with chronic diseases, the elderly, and the immunosuppressed.
And pharmacist at Eagle Hall Pharmacy, Derek Catlin, says he has noticed an increase in customers seeking relief from flu-like symptoms and sinus issues, and a small number of people presenting with prescriptions for gastroenteritis symptoms.
Which is basically due to the change of the environment. Even though 1 or 2 nights or mornings might still be cool and so on, we transitioning into the dry season now. So as a result, you got the Sahara dust. Hopefully it can be dry as well. And then unfortunately, how it is in Barbados, persons to start, with these fires and stuff like that. So all this is basically impacting the environment.
Local authorities are concerned about the tougher sanctions imposed by the United States targeting the Cuban medical program. The United States recently announced the expansion of its policy restricting visas related to Cuba, which will now involve the suspension of those associated with the island's international medical cooperation agreements. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kerry Simmons, says the developments now require dialogue with U.S. officials. He says the teams have served Barbados well, and Caribbean countries in general are also heavily dependent on these medical professionals. His comments came as debate on the appropriation bill annual estimates 2025 to 2026 resumed on his ministry's head in the lower house on Friday.
The truth of the matter is that Grenada has signaled, for example, that, if you took the Cubans out of their medical health system, their public health system in Grenada, you would be down to one anesthesiologist in the country and one cardiac surgeon. So they obviously are heavily dependent. Interestingly, so too is Jamaica, deeply intertwined with the assistance from Cuba. And it will vary from country to country. I think that what is important, and there's a book called Politics Among Nations by a gentleman called Hans J. Morgenthau. And he keeps making the point that the only permanent interest of any country is its national interest. And what is our national interest? Our national interest really with Cuba is what we have just discussed, the diplomacy of development.
Minister Simmons also says Africa is ripe with potential and Barbados, through its missions on the continent, is working to boost ties. He is upbeat of the planned first in-person meeting of African and Caribbean leaders set for September of this year.
Right now, the Kenyan High Commissioner should be on the ground in Ethiopia, or if he's not there yet, will be there soon, engaging with the Ethiopians on issues relating to those skill sets, because we are trying, as we did with the nurses in Ghana, to be able to source skills out of Ethiopia as well. And what are some of those fundamental skills? We keep talking about renewable energy and our renewable energy effort, but we do not have the technical expertise in terms of electrical engineers, electricity generation specialists, but we must do electricity generation planning.
Barbados has met its targets for the end of December 2024 under the International Monetary Fund's Extended Fund Facility, or EFF. This is according to an IMF team led by Mission Chief for Barbados, Michael Perks, who concluded a visit to the island today. A release issued by the IMF notes that the island's fiscal performance remains strong, with the primary balance reaching 5.3% of GDP, leaving authorities on track to meet the 3.8% of GDP fiscal target for the 2024-2025 financial year. Public debt also declined to close to 100% of GDP at the end of last year, while international reserves rose to US $1.6 billion. And according to the statement, the Barbados government remains committed to reducing that figure to 60% by 2035-2036. The release adds that structural reform efforts continue to advance, supported by IMF technical assistance. These include the strengthening of customs administration, a framework for public-private partnerships, and central bank liquidity forecasting, among other things. The fifth and final review under the EFF and RSF is scheduled for May. The University of the West Indies has pledged to establish a mechanism that will enable the students' governing body a reasonable measure of independence to adequately and responsibly fund student activities. The commitment from officials at UWI Cave Hill following a protest by members of the Guild of Students yesterday. Students raised concerns over financial issues and the removal of access to a financial account for activities under the Students' Guild. In a statement released by the UWI, both sides agreed to collaboratively compile a list of action items for execution. However, officials note that stricter measures were taken following the discovery of financial irregularities. Nevertheless, they say there is scope to engage with the Guild to find a mechanism to balance the independence sought by the Guild with the need for financial control. Well, coming up here on Newsnight, we Gatherin, wrapping up in one parish and moving to another. As the month of February closes, St. Thomas is taking over from St. Peter and is ready to host its activities for We Gatherin 2025. Director of the We Gatherin Secretariat, Senator John King, says it was a fantastic month for St. Peter. The parish will hand over to St. Thomas tonight during a grand football match at the Mahaika playing field. He is excited as to what's coming and paid kudos to all of the parish organizing committees, noting We Gatherin has been well received. Senator King was a guest on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados.
It's off the charts, especially in the diaspora. You know, I mean, we have so many people who call, and unfortunately, I don't get to meet all of the people who have actually come on island, done their bit, and gone back out.
Yes.
But I get the calls afterwards to say, John, I was in Barbados, I had a blast, and unfortunately, you know, I didn't come in my month, but I had to come home at this particular point in time, and I enjoyed everything, and I'm hoping that other people that I know could come in. So you have that kind of conversation. And also, for those persons who just visit us to get away from the cold, who, when we get the opportunity to talk to them, they're just blown away by all of the things that they've seen.
Public Relations Officer with the St. Thomas Parish Organizing Committee, Carl Applewaite, says March 1st will see a fish fry at the Holy Innocents Church in St. Thomas. Meanwhile, a multi-faith ceremony will herald the official start of St. Thomas activities for Gatherin.
On the 2nd of March at Leicester Vaughan. This starts at 4 p.m. And persons may say, why a multi-faith ceremony? The reality is we're living in an increasingly pluralistic society. And if we're talking about inclusion, it must go beyond just the words. So we have that opportunity for persons of diverse faiths to come together and not only worship, but to give thanks, because we do have a lot to be thankful for. I think Senator King was telling me it is 400 years this year that we'll be celebrating in terms of the
establishment of Barbados as an island.
Correct. So we do have a lot to be grateful for. So at this ceremony, at this multi-faith ceremony, church service, I should say, we'll be having persons right across from St. Thomas.
And St. Peter is closing out the month with a bang as they continue to recognize outstanding residents, as popular businessman Clement Armstrong was immortalized in a painting by award-winning fine artist Wayne Sandiford. It was unveiled at Fisherman's Pub in Speightstown on Thursday, which also saw the launching of the Journey of a Lifetime project. Sandiford was the resident artist at the Roots and Branches exhibition at the Speightstown Library. The portrait is a tribute to Armstrong, also known as the Mayor of Speightstown, for his remarkable impact on the community. The artist spoke of some of the challenges he encountered creating the piece and how he persevered despite the obstacles.
And he pushed past the resistance. He pushed past and he pushed past. And they said, Armstrong, you know, we taking a little hiatus in November due to unfortunate situations. Armstrong said, listen, buddy, do what you gotta do. You know, it's okay. So now, Mr. Armstrong, I want to thank you so much for having patience and understanding and sharing that knowledge and wisdom with me as a young man coming up.
The man of the moment, Mr. Armstrong, expressed his gratitude to all involved, particularly the artist, who he encouraged to keep up the good work.
I thank you very much. You're the first man ever heard me. I ought to be ahead of this time, and God has blessed me to really do things for people. And now, at this age, I see He's doing things for me. It goes around, it comes around, what people say. And I thank you all very, very much. A young crew, really inspirational. Keep it up. No smoke going, there's a narrow road and a big road to pass through. And you can slide down. If I stay sliding down my age, but Lord knows when to slow you up and when to pick you up. On behalf of my family and my friends, I'd like to thank you all very much.
What an honor. Government is on a mission to further include those with disabilities in all aspects of building a sustainable society. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs, J. Hugh Wiltshire, says the opportunities available are now with a view to setting an inclusive climate while ensuring fulfilling and active lives for those with disabilities. He says the new Social Empowerment Agency is seeking to create the Mangrove Agricultural Project to train people with disabilities in food crop production. Mr. Wiltshire was speaking at the launch of the Month of the Disabled under the theme, One Community United in Action for an Inclusive and Sustainable Future.
With the goal of the employment of 30%, in excess of 30 persons We are going to have the construction of a sheltered workshop to teach persons with disabilities in vocational skills. For example, small engine repairs and repairs to wheelchairs. We are going to prepare persons of disabilities for the world of work, and there are going to be various programs that we should be implemented. For example, flower arranging, sign language classes, along with a work experience program, and the training of persons with disabilities in collaboration with the Ministry of Education in Artificial Intelligence.
Meanwhile, President of the Barbados Council for the Disabled, Patricia Padmore Blackman, is calling on society to become more inclusive of all. She wants those with disabilities to be seen beyond the month of celebrations.
In the community of persons with disabilities, we have various persons with talents. And of course, we know we have them even in this room here this morning, and we laud and we commend them for their achievements. And we are sure that there are more to come. But if they are given the opportunity, if we become more inclusive, integrating all the ambitions, all the skills, all the experiences that we can think about that are within persons with disabilities.
Well, still to come, police in the Bahamas raised the alarm about car theft. But first, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited for coverage you need at a premium you can afford.
It is not uncommon for someone recovering from a substance use disorder to go through a relapse and start using drugs again. A relapse is actually a normal part of the recovery journey. This tip is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance and the National Council on Substance Abuse, strengthening prevention.
Community Files.
Get ready for the Co-op Experience. On Saturday, March 8th, the Cooperatives Department of the Ministry of Energy and Business presents the pop-up Co-op Mart at Church Village Green, Central Bank, Bridgetown, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Explore unique products from talented artists. Learn more about beekeeping, enjoy food samples and free health screenings. At the end of it all, cool off with smiley snow cones while enjoying live DJ music and steel pan vibes. Don't miss out. Shop, taste, and celebrate local talent at the Pop-Up Co-op Mart.
Sometimes life can be a swift sprint, or sometimes it calls for everything you have. But whatever it is, do not give up.
Embrace life. Embrace the moment. We at the CBC want you to embrace every moment.
Police in the Bahamas are reporting a disturbing trend of Japanese-made cars not only being stolen but used to commit serious crimes. The force is taking action to reduce such incidents. Our news has that story.
Police are paying close attention to the number of stolen Japanese vehicles. That uptick is glaringly obvious in daily crime reports issued by police. They show an average of 1 to 2 cars stolen each day from Nissan Notes, Dukes, Cubes, Honda Fits, and Toyota Passos. They've become favorites for thieves, many of them used in murders and armed robberies. Assistant Commissioner of Police Janet McKinsey says you should be on your guard.
They are being used for some crime. So what we are asking the members of the public to do is to be conscious of where they park their cars, don't leave them running, try to put some tracking devices in them. I would not say don't buy Japanese vehicles, but just know that it may come with some inherent risks.
While last year's crime stats don't specify how many Japanese vehicles were stolen, overall car thefts increased by 53%, with 392 incidents compared to 257 in 2023. Only 50% of vehicles stolen for the year were recovered. The majority of cars stolen were stolen in southern New Providence. So what's being done to curb this?
From the police's standpoint, we have ongoing patrols. We are employing our CCTV technologies, and of course, you, the public, help us with giving us information on what you've seen, and we respond accordingly.
Now, officers have been able to recover some of these vehicles just days after they've been stolen. ACP McKinsey says it's a result of good policing.
CARICOM has signaled its intention to continue working with Anguilla with the election of a new premier. Cora Richardson Hodge made history, becoming the territory's first female premier, leading her Anguilla United Front to victory in the recent general election. CARICOM Chairman and Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley, in extending congratulations, noted that as an associate member, Anguilla is an integral part of our regional family. She says the bloc looks forward to working together as a family to strengthen ties and advance development for the Caribbean. The new premier and her team were sworn in during a ceremony on Thursday. She has pledged to serve the island well and upgrade the standard of living of all Anguillans.
The people have spoken, and together we have chosen progress, unity, and a future that puts people first. I am deeply honored and humbled by the trust you have placed in me and the Anguilla United Front. This victory belongs to every Anguillian who believes in a stronger, fairer, and more prosperous Anguilla. This election was about you, the hard-working men and women determined to build a better life for their families. Our young people eager for real opportunities to shape our future.
Well, sports is just ahead with Anne-Marie Burke. Well, it's time for sports, and just in time for the weekend. Anne-Marie Burke is here.
Thanks, Tisha. Well, good evening to you. Good evening, viewers. We start with some good news in cricket. It's victory number 3 for Barbados Pride Women, as they're still the only unbeaten side in the CG United Women's Super 50 Cup. Playing at Connery in St. Kitts today, but a half-century by Asabi Calendar and 4 wickets from Kelia Elliott saw the Pride Women beating defending champions Jamaica Women by 54 runs. Decided to bat first after winning the toss, Barbados posted 199 for 6 off their 50 overs, led with 54 from Calendar, and unbeaten 48 from Kaishona Knight and 39 from Najani Kamabach. In reply, the Jamaicans fell all out for 144 or 44.3 overs. Elliott took 4 for 27 and Shamilia Connell had 3 for 24. Here's a look at how those Jamaican wickets fell.
Okay, that's taking on the pad. And if it goes to first single return, comes down towards the far end. It's not she out. Too easy. Shot. Yeah, 88 from 120 deliveries shot, and she's out. One.
Wonder if the captain couldn't think in terms of.
She was in the air, going to be out caught. Yes, she is. Caught at extra cover by Kishona Knight.
Much too short with that delivery. Now she goes full. There's a loud appeal, and she's given out. But the sun is still out. This one is in the air. Fielder gets on that. On the batch. Juggles a bit. Takes the catch. To mid-on. She's taking on the pad. Fairly full pitch. The finger pass up, and she's on her way. In the air. Well taken catch. It's a very good.
Hold him. Swung right around the slower delivery by Connell. In the air, out caught. That's the end of the game. Jamaica fall out for 145. And so Barbados getting a handsome victory to give them victory number 3. They sit alone at the top of the table.
Now, Barbados women will play Trinidad and Tobago women in round 4 on Monday. International players Roston Chase, Jason Holt and Kyle Mears will form part of the Barbados Pride squad that will oppose the combined campuses and colleges in round 4 of the regional 4-day championship. Set for March 5th to 8th at Kensington Oval, the Craig Brathwaite-led squad will be boosted with the trio at the same venue that witnessed 2 consecutive victories in their previous matches. That Barbados Pride 4th round squad is Captain Craig Brathwaite, Lenico Boucher, Roston Chase, Jonathan Drakes, Matthew Ford, Shem Holder, Mears, Zachary McCaskey, Kemar Roach, Ramon Simmons, Jamal Warrican, and Kevin Wickham. Jordan Supermarket Good Shepherd are double crown champions of the Rubis Caribbean Andrea Blackett Zone for NAPSAC 2025. When the final zone meet was held today at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex, Good Shepherd stood tall with 291 points to win the girls' title and 254 to take the boys' championship. Eden Lodge were second among the girls with 175, while St. Paul's were third with 133.5. St. Paul's also finished runners-up along with St. Gabriel's in the boys' section, with both schools sharing 167 points. Here's a look at some of the sprints. The babies of Knapsack first, the under 750 meters, are the fastest of them all, taking command from start to finish. That's Jessica Codrington of St. Philip Primary, crossing the line in 9.83 seconds. And while your girls' champ was from the east, your boys' champion is from the west. He took 2 glances to his left and said, "Catch me if you can." On the outside and making no spot at all, it's our Manny Archer in the blue and orange of Eagle Hall Primary. His winning time was 9.58 seconds. Let's look at the under 980 meters now, and Good Shepherd had a star girl in Zanaya Chandler. She's on the inside, and from the start, the script was written. She had them done and dusted. The others played a mere catch-up, running away with the win in 13.38 seconds. And we round out our quick look at the knapsack action with the boys under 980 meters. Talk about a class act. A lyrical McNeil from St. Paul's Primary. He will not be caught, not today, not tomorrow, not at all. It's him and the clock, which he stops at 12.86 seconds, as that's a wrap on the zonal meets for knapsack. The attention will now turn to the semi-final scheduled for next Friday, March 7th at the Usain Bolt Sports Complex, with the final set for March the 14th. Well, Tisha, that's my first look at sports. When I return, I do have some volleyball action.
Good stuff. I certainly look forward to that. The little ones always put a smile on my face. Hey, coming up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report. A call has been made for a diversification of exports. It comes from President of the Caribbean Development Bank, Daniel Best, as he delivered the feature address at the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry's business luncheon and panel discussion at the Hilton Barbados Resort today. He said in every economic crisis, the countries that have been able to withstand shocks and rebound in the shortest possible time were not solely dependent on tourism.
The way to mitigate the impact of these shocks is to limit their damage and build resilience, is to diversify exports. The second message is that in small economies such as ours, there is a limit to the extent of diversification that can be attained. However, the evidence shows that diversification that limits the depth of shock-induced recessions is possible. Friends, diversification is not a strategy. It's not just a strategy. It is a necessity for economic survival and long-term prosperity.
For the past 3 decades, Profiles Caribbean has been focused on human resource development. And as part of the company's celebration of its 30th anniversary, it's making a different kind of contribution to the field. Trevor Thorpe tells us more.
Mr. Dong said in the early days, Profiles Caribbean experienced its share of challenges like any small business. He added, however, that the early years really set the tone for the way forward. According to him, there was much to learn and develop over the 30 years.
We entered into a market which was relatively new when it came to understanding what psychometric assessments are all about. We implemented a number of initiatives to educate the public at large as to what assessments and psychometric testing is all about.
And to mark the company's 30th anniversary, a scholarship was awarded to a student pursuing studies in HR. The company saw it as a fitting way to give back to the society in which it operates.
So we thought it would be part of our give back to the community to offer this scholarship. And no better person this year to offer to Chalisa Ali, who haven't assessed all of the applications. We felt that she was the best candidate to receive the reward. The award is approximately $4,000 Barbados, and it includes not only the actual books and online access, but also to the ability to do a workshop, which we conduct over a period of weekends. And obviously we cater to people who are working.
Scholarship winner Jalisa Aline said it would help her to develop in her career.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank Profiles for recognizing me as well as awarding me this scholarship. I am very much appreciative of this opportunity, what it looks like for me now. Just an opportunity to advance in my career, gain my certification, learn as well, grow in the profession, and who knows, this might open new doors as well.
Sharing her plans for the future, Ms. Aline said they include completing her course of study and someday opening the doors to her own business. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Hey, thank you, Trevor. Time now for a look at how stocks performed locally and regionally today.
In Jamaica, Victon Energy Limited, with 12,059,855 units, was the volume leader, followed by Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited and Proven Group Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader, with 201,761 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $784,848.20, followed by One Caribbean Media Limited. And here in Barbados, Insurance Corporation of Barbados Limited was the volume leader, trading 5,000 shares at Barbados $1.97 each, and they were followed by Cape Shepherd and Company Limited.
We'll take a break here and come back with the weather with Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Time to see now how things are shaping up weather-wise so we can plan for the big weekend ahead. We know it's Gold Cup tomorrow, Carrie-Ann. You better have good news.
Well, good evening to you, Tisha, and good evening, everyone. Low-level instability is impacting the island. As a result, we had a few showers here in Barbados. Now, the winds there are light to moderate across the region, and the high-pressure system was the dominant feature across the Guianas. The maximum temperature today was 30 degrees Celsius, the minimum 24 degrees. At present, the temperature stands at 23 degrees Celsius. The relative humidity stands at 84%. The winds, they're coming in from the southeast. We take a look now at some atmospheric conditions across the region, where those temperatures are ranging from 24 to 27 degrees Celsius. The humidity shows that moisture is building across a number of the islands, and the winds are generally light to moderate across the region. We take a look now at our satellite feed, where low-level instability maintained a few showers for us here in Barbados. Now, similar weather conditions also across the Windward Islands. As for those winds, they're peaking at 16 knots, and the seas moderate and open water, with swells peaking at 2.5 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. Now, later on tonight, we can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies along with some scattered showers here in Barbados. Further south across the Guianas, the high-pressure system was the dominant feature. They had partly cloudy skies along with cloudy skies at times and a few light showers. Over now in the Western Caribbean, a confluent pattern maintained some showers across most of the islands. Well, that's our first look at the weather. After the break, we'll have the forecast. Welcome back. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 14 minutes after 6 and will set at 7 minutes past 6. Now, the first high tide is expected at 10 minutes to 5 in the early morning and the first low at 10:44 a.m. The seas, moderate and open water with swells peaking at 2.5 meters. We are urging small craft operators as well as sea bathers to exercise caution. The winds, they're coming in from the east and they're peaking at 35 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies along with some scattered showers. And over the next 3 days, a mix of sunshine, clouds and showers can be expected.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
A behind-the-scenes look at preparations for BSSAC 2025. Meet the men and women in the engine room of the island's premier junior track and field event. Build up to BSSAC. As you can imagine, it's a mammoth task to stage the BSSAC championships. And of course, it comes with a financial ticket. And that's where you have to depend on sponsors. BSSAC has a number of sponsors on board to make sure that everything runs smoothly and efficiently. And their lead sponsor is Powerade and Dasani. So joining me today is the marketing manager at Barbados Bottling Company, the man behind it all really for the title sponsors, Clifford Gooding-Edgell. Clifford, thank you so much for joining me here on Build Up to BSSAC. My question is, this is your 16th year, or 14th to 16th year?
It's a lot longer than that.
Oh, it's a lot longer.
It's a lot longer than that.
So tell me about it then.
Well, the Barbados Bottling Company has been associated with the Interschool Championships, as it was known previously before, with one of its other brands, the Coca-Cola brand. In recent years, though, as we continue to understand and we evolve and we develop products that are more suited to the track and field, we have now come on board with our hydration brands, which are Powerade and Dasani water. It's been a fantastic arrangement and relationship for us. Over the years, we've seen the tremendous benefits of being involved in this very, very important and exciting event.
Now, what does it take for you to say this is an event I want to align myself with? What are some of the elements that you look at that you know, well, is paired with the right brand from your end?
Well, again, it's all about the value in terms of what the event stands for. And as you can imagine, this event is a phenomenal showcase for young athletes or youth, again, and sports, as you know, is a vehicle that helps to develop not only people, but a society on a whole. And again, once we understand the value of this, again, it's only befitting as a hydration brand that we be involved in an event of this nature. Again, like I said, and I'll repeat myself always, this is a phenomenal event that we as a brand have seen tremendous value in being a part of. And when you see persons such as Asade or Overdeli, I mean, who've all participated in this event, then it only encourages more to continue to be involved and to do as much more, even more than we're doing right now. And we're constantly in discussions with the team from the BSSAC organizing community to see how much more value we can add to make this event even a greater success.
I know there may be persons out there who want to buy into BSSAC, like you have bought into BSSAC. What do you say to other companies, individuals as well, that may want to come on as sponsors? What are the benefits like to be having that partnership with BSSAC?
Again, we've always encouraged the organizing committee to find other sponsors, obviously not competing sponsors. And I would say to any organization out there, this is a phenomenal platform to be involved with. It's a very positive platform that gives our kids the opportunity to really excel and to do very powerful things. We have seen the benefits of it, and I would have mentioned some of the athletes that would have came through this program, and we believe that there's still so much to do and so much to have.
Well, I think at this point I want to say on behalf of our Barbadians, thank you so much for throwing your support behind BSSAC for all these years, because it's so critical in the execution of large events like this to have not only the financial, but as you say, also the tangible support as well. And your company has continued to support BSSAC and athletes, and I do look forward to seeing you next year and years to come.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, and again, you guys have been doing a fantastic job in keeping this top of mind. I like the programs that we've been partnering with you to highlight the actual athletes who will be participating. Yes. So again, kudos to you and the team at CBC as well for keeping this top of mind, to showing these young athletes and highlighting the positive things that can come through sport. So once again, thank you as well, Anne-Marie, and team.
Thank you too. You're most welcome. And that's Clifford Goodey-Edgell. He's the marketing manager at Barbados Bottling Company. Title sponsors Powerade and Dasani for BSSAC. And in this edition of Build Up to BSSAC, we took a look at how the sponsors get all involved in bringing it together.
That was Build Up to BSSAC, a behind-the-scenes look at preparations for BSSAC 2025. The Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup is upon us. And here's a look at the horses and their connections, vying for that coveted trophy. This is Mounted Glory. We round out our look at the Gold Cup entries with the Trinidad and Tobago 4-year-old filly, the Goddess Nike. Owned by Siobhan Mirage and trained by well-known trainer John O'Brien, the Goddess Nike comes into the Gold Cup with stats of 2 wins from 10 starts. The last victory was on August 31st of last year at the Santa Rosa Park in Arima, Trinidad. She does come to tomorrow's race not having run on turf, but with the standard she's at, trainer O'Brien says they could not let her pass up the opportunity to have a go at the Gold Cup.
She's a filly that we figured that in Trinidad that she looked like she was handling the turf much better than the sand. And she moved up plenty when we raced on the turf. So we were coming, so we decided to bring her with us. She's running against some good horses, so it's going to be difficult. Competition is very tough. I mean, the horses that came from North America up to Group 3 standards, so you're talking about good horses.
The Goddess Nike will be piloted by former Trinidad and Tobago champion jockey Pravin Badri and goes out of gate 3, representing the parish of St. John. So let's take a look at the full field lining up for tomorrow's 42nd running of the Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup. Vividly. Show the money. Public sector. Harrow. Portfolio Company. Jerry the Nipper. Smoking Tea. And the Goddess Nike. Post time for the race day is 1 p.m. with the Gold Cup race scheduled to run off at 5:40 p.m. That was a look at some of the horses and their connections, vying for that coveted Sandy Lane Barbados Gold Cup. That was Mounted Glory.
Hey, thank you so much, Anne-Marie. See you at the races tomorrow. If you can't make it, tune into CBC TV 8 from just around 4:30. That's news. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. On behalf of the entire crew, have a wonderful weekend.